Hello, my dear friends. Today we will talk about a woman whose name changed the history of science. Marie Curie. She was the first woman ever to win a Nobel Prize, and the only person to win 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different sciences, physics and chemistry. But her story is not only about discovery. It's about courage, sacrifice, and belief in one's dreams. She worked day and night in cold labs, faced sickness and loss, and broke the walls that kept women away from science. Her light still shines, not only through her discoveries, but through her spirit of learning and service. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to English 7 Days. Now, let's begin the story of Marie Curie, the scientist behind 2 Nobel Prizes. Marie Curie was born on November 7, 1867, in Warsaw, Poland. Her real name was Maria Skłodowska. She was the youngest of 5 children. Her father was a science teacher. He loved physics and math and filled their small apartment with instruments, magnets, flasks, thermometers. Little Maria loved to play with them. At night, she listened to her father explain how the world works. Why the moon shines, why magnets pull, why the rainbow appears. Her eyes sparkled with wonder. But life was not easy. Poland was under Russian rule, and girls were not allowed to study freely. Schools were watched by strict officials. Still, Maria studied in secret underground classes, where teachers taught Polish history and science quietly. She dreamed of becoming a scientist, but she had to fight poverty and rules that said, "Women cannot." She promised herself, "One day I will study at the best university in the world." That dream led her far from home. When she turned 24, Maria left Poland. She sold her few belongings, borrowed money, and took a long train ride to Paris, France. There, she entered the Sorbonne University, one of the most respected schools in Europe. She changed her name to Marie Curie. Life in Paris was very hard. She was poor and lived in a small, cold attic. She often ate only bread and tea, but she spent every moment studying physics, math, and chemistry. In the day, she attended lectures. At night, she studied by candlelight, wrapped in her old coat to stay warm. Her teachers noticed her brilliance. She graduated first in her class in physics, and soon after in mathematics, something very rare for a woman at that time. She said later, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood." Those words became her life's philosophy. While searching for laboratory space, Marie met Pierre Curie, a gentle and intelligent physicist. He was shy, kind, and loved science as much as she did. They quickly became close friends, then partners in research, and soon, husband and wife. They married in 1895. Their wedding was simple. Instead of a white gown, Marie wore a dark blue dress, the same one she used in her laboratory. Together, they worked side by side on experiments about magnetism, crystals, and radiation. Their love grew through their curiosity and teamwork. Pierre once said, "Our work must be done for humanity." That idea guided them both. In 1897, Marie gave birth to their first daughter, Irene. Balancing motherhood and science was difficult, but she never gave up. She used to study while her baby slept, writing notes quietly late into the night. It was during these years that she started studying mysterious rays recently discovered by another scientist, X-rays. She wondered if there were even stranger forms of invisible energy in nature. That question led to her greatest discovery. Marie Curie decided to study the mineral pitchblende, a dark rock from mines in Bohemia. It was known to contain uranium, but Marie noticed something curious. It was giving off more radiation than uranium alone could explain. She believed there must be new, unknown elements hidden inside it. She and Pierre began an exhausting investigation. They worked in an old wooden shed behind their school. In winter, the place was freezing. In summer, boiling hot. The air was full of thick dust and chemical fumes. Day after day, they crushed tons of pitchblende and boiled it in giant pots to separate the different substances. It took 4 years of work. Finally, in 1898, they announced the discovery of 2 new elements, polonium, named after Marie's beloved Poland, radium, from the Latin word radius, meaning ray. The scientific world was amazed. Their discovery opened a new field, the study of radioactivity. Marie was the first person ever to use the word radioactivity. She measured the strength of invisible rays and proved that atoms were not solid but full of energy. But success came with pain. The rays they worked with were dangerous, though they did not know it yet. Their hands were often burned. They felt tired and sick. Still, they continued. Pierre once said, "We are too happy in our work to notice how tired we are." Their discoveries brought them worldwide fame. And in 1903, both Marie and Pierre Curie, along with scientist Henri Becquerel, received the Nobel Prize in Physics. Marie Curie became the first woman ever to win a Nobel Prize. When reporters asked how she felt, she said quietly, "I was taught that the way of progress is neither swift nor easy." Success brought happiness, but life soon tested Marie's strength. In 1906, a terrible accident changed everything. One rainy day, her husband Pierre Curie was crossing a busy Paris street when a horse-drawn wagon hit him. He died instantly. Marie was only 38 years old, suddenly a widow, a mother of 2, and a scientist alone in a man's world. Her heart was broken. For weeks, she could hardly eat or speak. But slowly, her love for science helped her rise again. She returned to the laboratory, the place where she and Pierre had dreamed together. She said, "One never notices what has been done. One can only see what remains to be done." In 1906, the University of Paris offered her Pierre's teaching position. She accepted, becoming the first woman professor in the university's history. Even in sorrow, she broke barriers. She worked harder than ever, determined to keep Pierre's dream alive. After years of research, Marie continued to study radium and polonium. She purified radium into its purest form, a bright, glowing crystal that shone softly in the dark. Her research helped doctors begin using radiation to fight cancer. She never patented her process. She believed knowledge should belong to everyone. In 1911, the Royal Swedish Academy awarded her a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for discovering and isolating radium and polonium. She became the first person ever, man or woman, to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different sciences. When reporters asked how she felt, she said calmly, "I am among those who think that science has great beauty. But fame also brought gossip and jealousy. Some newspapers attacked her for being a woman and for her personal life. She ignored them and kept working quietly. She believed truth, and hard work spoke louder than rumors. Through all challenges, she remained humble. She lived simply, wore no fancy clothes, and continued to teach young scientists. To her, success was not about money or fame. It was about discovery. When World War I began in 1914, France needed help. Hospitals were far from the battlefields, and many soldiers died because X-ray machines were not available near the front lines. Marie Curie decided to act. She designed small mobile X-ray units and taught doctors and nurses how to use them. The cars carried her equipment to war zones. They were called Little Curies. She trained her daughter Irene to help her. Together, they traveled across France, often close to danger. Thanks to her courage, thousands of wounded soldiers were treated more quickly. After the war, she continued building medical centers and teaching radiology. Her dream was to use science not for power, but for healing. She said, "You cannot hope to build a better world without improving the individuals." Her life became a model of service, science for humanity. Marie Curie's love of science also shaped her family. Her daughter, Irène Joliot-Curie, became a scientist like her mother and later won a Nobel Prize in chemistry with her husband, Frédéric Joliot. That made the Curie family the first family in history with 5 Nobel Prizes across generations. Marie opened research institutes in Paris and Warsaw that still exist today, helping scientists study radiation and cancer treatment. Her notebooks, still kept in museums, remain radioactive even after more than a century, proof of her intense work. But the radiation also harmed her health. Years of unprotected exposure weakened her body. She often felt tired and ill, but continued her research until the very end. In 1934, she passed away from a blood disease caused by radiation, aplastic anemia. She was 66 years old. She left this world quietly, without riches, but with something far greater: the light of discovery that continues to help millions. My friends, Marie Curie's life teaches us powerful lessons. Believe in your dreams, even when others doubt you. Work hard and let your work speak for you. Use knowledge to serve humanity, not to seek fame. Keep learning, because learning gives strength. She once said, "We must believe that we are gifted for something, and that this thing must be attained." From a poor student in Poland to the greatest woman scientist of all time, her journey shows that courage and curiosity can change the world. Today, every hospital that uses radiation to save lives carries a spark of her legacy. Marie Curie proved that genius has no gender, only dedication. Her light, born in a small lab, still shines wherever knowledge and kindness meet.